Good evening, I'm Eugene Chan and a warm welcome to Straight Talk. Our guest today is Dr. Trisha Lehi, the Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Sports Institute. Under Dr. Lehi's leadership, Hong Kong athletes have consistently succeeded at major international events, including the recent Asian Games and the Tokyo Olympics, as well as the Paralympics. She previously worked at the Australian Institute of Sport as senior psychologist and was awarded the Australia Sport Medal for services to Olympic sports in 2000, following the successful Sydney Olympic Games. Here in Hong Kong, she has also been awarded the Bronze Bohemian Star in 2014 and the Silver Bohemian Star in 2020 for her contributions to the community and to sport. This evening, we have invited Dr. Lehi to talk to us about whether our medal expectations are too high for our athletes. Welcome, Trisha.
Thank you, Eugene. Thank you so much.
Right, Trisha, maybe we start by telling us, the viewers, what is the Hong Kong Institute of Sport and where is they in the sports landscape in Hong Kong?
Excellent question, Eugene. So the Hong Kong Sports Institute is the government's delivery agent of the high-performance sports systems in Hong Kong. What this means is that we are funded to assist the sports governing bodies to identify, nurture, and develop their talented athletes so that they can become world champions, Olympic champions, Paralympic champions. So this is the core of our being, is to develop and produce medals.
Right, so can we highlight some of the major achievements of of Hong Kong athletes internationally over the last few decades as a recap to our viewers?
Well, I think we can see that, and perhaps it's not so visible to some of the viewers because we track the trends as we're moving forward all the time, whether it's Asian Championships, whether it's World Championships, whether it's Olympic Games, Paralympic Games, Asian Games. All of the trends are moving in the right direction, in a very positive direction, and athletes from Hong Kong are consistently on the podium at all of these events. So we have a very nice, sustainable, reproducible system happening, thanks to many collaborating partners, including ourselves, the government, the national sports associations, and of course the Hong Kong Sports Federation Olympic Committee of Hong Kong, China.
Right. Trisha, you make a very strong statement saying that it's consistently on these stages. I mean, for most Hong Kong people, we never treated Hong Kong as a sporting city because we never had the facilities, the venue, all the attitude of the whole community to sports is just for a leisure game until only, I still remember in 1996 when Li Lai-shan won the gold medal. So has Hong Kong been doing well even before that, or all these are planned, or they're just coincidental?
There is no such thing as coincidence in high-performance sport. Everything is planned and everything is based on a system. Now, I think you'll have heard recently the government saying how in the past 10 years they've given us around 7 billion Hong Kong dollars to ensure that we are able to do the job that we need to do. Now, the question that some people ask, is that a lot of money? But for us, a more pertinent question is, how are we using that money? Are we identifying the critical success factors? Are we investing the money into those factors so that we can have sustainable results? Now, starting from Li Lai-shan in 1996, it was my privilege to be part of the support team working with her. Already we had a system then. That wasn't Li Lai-shan's first public competition. She had previously been world champion, world top 3. She'd been to the Olympics 4 years previously. So we had a system of coaching, science, medicine, training, access to overseas competition, and that's what produced that result.
Right. So what you're saying is all the money has been well spent because we got results.
Exactly.
So do we still need more money?
Yes, it's interesting. Now, if you look at the Asian Games results this time, we are overall on the medal table 10th. Even though we got 53 medals. At the last Asian Games cycle, we were overall on the medal table 11th, and the time before that 10th, with much fewer medals. So the reality is, just to maintain your place on the medal table, you have to get more and more medals. More and more medals means more and more investment. So everywhere around the world, not just Hong Kong, but our counterparts around the world, everyone is recognizing that you have to keep investing for tinier and tinier marginal gains in order to sustain the same place on the medal table.
Trisha, you just mentioned you were with Li Lai-shan in 1996, and then we also heard that you will be retiring soon in December. I'm sure you had this legacy that you have helped build for Hong Kong, will you say that you finished on a high note?
I think I am very happy to be finishing at this time on a very positive note. And I am also confident that what we, with our collaborative approach, have built is not dependent on any one person being in any position. It really is dependent on teamwork. And of course, this is the beauty of sport. This is why we promote sport in our community, because we believe that it drives collaboration, it drives values of teamwork and cooperation. And no matter whether you're working in corporate finance or you're working in high-performance sport, that's what's going to lead to success. So I'm confident going forward, things are going to be in really good hands.
Right. You just mentioned that we have 53 medals, maintaining number 10 on the medal table for this time is a very good result. We had the chief executive welcoming our athletes over the last weekend, saying that we have 8 gold, 16 silver and 29 bronze medals. I mean, it's very encouraging.
Yes.
And out of those who got the gold medals, there are 2 new sports. They're actually not under the TAA system, which I'm sure you're going to talk about in a minute, is both golf and bridge. So what exactly is TAB? Because the viewers, they are not familiar with the tier system. Maybe you can tell them.
Sure.
You've got Tier A star, Tier A, and what is this all about?
Yeah. So the government has a multi-pronged approach to the development of elite sport, starting from sports who have proven capacity in repeatable proven capacity in international events at least the Asian level, then they get full access to the Hong Kong Sports Institute. So the athletes can live there, they train there, we give them all of the science and medical support that they need, and supply them with all of the funding for competitions and training. That's Tier A. At the top of Tier A, we have 6 sports who are Olympic podium ready, and those get a little bit more in terms of really fine-tuning the kinds of things that they need to do to be successful at the Olympics. Now, for those sports who are knocking on the door, who are almost at that Tier A level, but not quite there, there's another level called Tier B. So they get funding from us. They get access to some of the science and medical services if their athletes are at a particular level. So this matrix of support that the government has provisioned for athletes is definitely producing results. So the purpose of Tier B is we want them to get into Tier A. So for example, golf, they're going to be eligible for Tier A status in the next round of review because of their gold medal. And we're very happy to be part of that, and we're very happy to see that sports are coming up through the system and that the system is being successful. It doesn't mean we don't need to review the system. We should always review and see how can we calibrate better, how can we do it more in a more sophisticated way, how can we guarantee the sustainability. That's also a critical analysis that we undergo all the time.
Right, given what you said, I mean, if you're going to have more support, say, golf and bridge, that means they will do better and better. And you mentioned a very good point that it's predictable and I mean, it's planned.
Yes.
So it looks like maybe in a few more years, we're going to have more golf champions, more bridge champions in Hong Kong.
Well, I think our goal is always to have more and better.
Right.
So we really do need to critically evaluate what we're doing, what went well this time, what didn't go so well this time, how can we do it better next time. We have a concept in high-performance sport that we're always looking for marginal gains across a number of parameters, because each little marginal gain can add up and aggregate to a major change, and that's what gets you the medal. But now, just one more point on that, Eugene, marginal gains are no longer sufficient. Marginal you can see. What we're looking for now is microscopic. Now we're really entering into the territory of science, technology, research, microtechnologies. So this is the new frontier now for all of the elite sports around the world, and Hong Kong is also moving in this direction.
Right, I'm just thinking, if you look at the 8 gold medals we have, with golf and bridge being the newcomer, and if we're going to have more facilities and more funding into that, we're going to have even more on the international map. Just a wild thought. Does it mean that we're going to need more golf courses or even more venues for playing for bridges? One
of the critical success factors in terms of high-performance sports results is world standard venues. If you can't train your athlete in a world standard venue, you're missing a major critical success factor. Now, we're fortunate at the Hong Kong Sports Institute that the government has funded us to have all of the world standard venues that we need. As more new sports coming in, I'm confident that the government will make the right decision in terms of investment in those sports also to ensure that that critical success factor is not becoming the major weakness and the link in the chain that will break the succession and the sustainability of results.
Right, Trisha, I'm going to ask you one question before the break, and that's something that we have mentioned last year during one of the interviews, saying that, since we talk about medals, but let's talk about Olympics.
Yep.
Hong Kong has been very fortunate that we get Olympic medals in 1996, 2004, 2012, and 2020, every 8 years. But we seem to miss out something in between. So this 8-year rule. You've been in the sport for a long time. So are we saying that we won't be getting any medal in 2024, but only in 2028? What is your prediction?
It's a very good question. Not necessarily. It's also a complicated question. And in relation to that, I do have to say we almost had a medal in 2016 with Sarah Lee, but unfortunately she was knocked off her bike by another competitor, so there goes our medal. So it's not necessarily 8 years. That could be just a coincidence. But it's interesting that it does take an 8-year time period to develop a young athlete to be ready to compete on that international stage. So when you think about that, and then you think about when it comes to big events like the Olympics, anything can happen at any point. An athlete can get injured, fall off the bike, something else happens, and there goes your medal. Now, when we're in Hong Kong and we don't have a huge population, we have a 7-point-something million population. The athletes are not very huge compared to their counterparts. So we're already punching far above our weight class, if I might use a sport analogy, in terms of the results that we are having. Now, after the Olympics in Tokyo, you can see we have some outstanding athletes, Zheng Gailong, Siobhan Haughey. So they're still at the prime time, and they are looking good for 2024 in Paris. So we are doing everything we can to make sure that the athletes that we do have the best opportunity of making the podium when it comes to 2024.
Right, great to know. Trisha, let's take a break now.
Sure.
But viewers, do stay with us. We will be right back. Thank you for staying with us. And we have been talking with Dr. Trisha Lehi about whether our medal expectations are too high for our athletes. So Trisha, in the first part of the show, a very good point that you have told us this is all predictable. Hong Kong is doing well. We're doing, actually, given our size of the population and size of our athletes, we're doing very well. Just on that point, can you tell the viewers what you meant by that? People often think Hong Kong is never a sporting city, as I said right at the beginning of the show, but now seems like we're getting results. And you said because the government has been put in the right use. And the title of the show today is whether we are expecting too much. I mean, people say, oh, I'm going to get a medal tonight. So are we expecting too much of our athletes?
It's a very good question, Eugene. And I think no matter our expectations of athletes, we will never exceed their own expectations. These are highly professional young people, and they themselves never go to a competition without having a clear expectation of what they want to do. So the question then for us is, how do we support them in the very complicated biopsychosocial environment that really is the fundamental pathway to success at the Olympics? How do we support them properly with the right investment into the right critical success factors to make sure that they can achieve their own expectations? And when they do, it's quite right that we celebrate their success. And yesterday, we were delighted that the chief executive of Hong Kong gave so much kudos to the athletes and presented them with certificates and really acknowledged their results. And he said a really nice thing, that the athletes are telling positive Hong Kong stories. And I think that's the crux of the matter for us. When the athletes are out there representing Hong Kong, they're not just telling Hong Kong stories, they are performing Hong Kong stories. And that positive message going out and being reflected back to the athletes about themselves, I think is setting us up for great future leaders in Hong Kong.
Right, Trisha. Of course, it's happy that we have medals, and it's understandable that I think the athletes have even higher expectations than the public. So I understand we have over like 560 athletes who went to the Asian Games this time, but we only got 53 medals. So, I mean, definitely it's just 1 out of 10. Are you happy with that? Is that the only measurement that we have using medals?
Well,
do you have any other measurement to say we've done well?
Yes. When it comes to success at major games, we look at a number of parameters. We look at improvements based on last time. We look at different colors of medals. We look at positions in the top 8, depending on the size of the events. But let me contextualize the current Asian Games results for you. If we look at, we came 10th overall on the medal table, Hong Kong athletes. Over 600 athletes went, yes. About 46% of those athletes were from the Hong Kong Sports Institute system, and they were responsible for 96% of the medals. So 51 or 52 of those medals were won by the Hong Kong scholarship athletes. And that's something that, I'm not saying that to show, oh, how clever is Hong Kong SI. I'm saying that to show how well the government support system is working in terms of the provisioning of Hong Kong Sports Institute to be able to support the athletes. So we're very happy about that. Is it enough? Of course, it's never enough. But if we look across the sports where we are competing, and instead of looking at the overall medal table, we do a like-to-like comparison, the sports we're competing in versus our counterparts, then we would be 5th on the medal table. So that is pretty extraordinary given the 7-point-something million population. Now back to the original medal table where we came 10th, look at all the countries that are ahead of us on that table. They have huge populations. So I would challenge anyone to say that this was not an amazing result for the Hong Kong athletes.
Right. So can you say that Hong Kong actually has developed a winning formula for sports?
It certainly has. And related to that, we get a lot of questions from our counterparts in other jurisdictions because they do want to know, how do you do it? You have such a tiny population, you have so few elite athletes. How are you systemically supporting them such that they're able to consistently win medals? We're very proud of it, and we're very proud of the fact that we have such a deep collaboration between our coaching teams, our science and medicine teams, our research teams, and the government is so supportive in terms of allowing us to move forward in terms of the sport technology research and giving us the venues that we need. So everything is in a very stable position. Now, stable, we got to be careful, because when we get to stable position, oh, we'll start to relax. In high-performance sport, you cannot relax. You're always looking for that microscopic next edge, and if you don't do that, you're going backwards relative to your counterparts.
Right, Trisha, you know, having high expectations is very motivating. However, they can also lead to a lot of stress for the athletes.
Yeah.
So you are being a sports psychologist yourself, and how do you see setting high standards and then balance against ensuring the well-being of athletes? How would you do that?
Yes. In the support that we provide to the athletes, we have a whole, what we call an entourage of support staff that help them. Not just psychologists, but also nutritionists and biochemists and biomechanics and everybody who's taking care of their body and their mind. And really, the mind, when it comes to high-performance sport, what's happening in your head is often the difference between a medal or no medal, because everybody trains well around the world. So how do we make that edge? We really need to look at helping athletes to understand their own selves, helping them to have a stable sense of identity, a very strong self-confidence, and a way of coping with failure, because let's face it, you're going to fail most of the time. It's that one time when you get to the Olympics or the Asian Games that you want that real medal, and that's the time you want to succeed. So how do you deal with all those failures leading up to that? You really have to have a mindset that says there's no such thing as failure, there's only learning. Every time I don't succeed the way I wanted to, I learn something, I move forward, and I think that's a very positive message for all of us to have.
So what you're saying is sports psychology plays such a big part in success, especially between a medal and a non-medal, which could be fraction of a second.
Exactly, exactly.
So it's a mental thing.
Yes.
Since you mentioned Hong Kong is doing so well with the Hong Kong SI, you being there for all this time, how would you say, what are the key elements of our elite sports system which have contributed to the Hong Kong athlete support? I know that we have some unique aspects such as sectorial collaboration or even centralized elite training environments. Can you just tell the viewers a bit more of, all the details of your program?
Sure. The way we try to develop athletes to be on the world stage, we have a very fundamental principle behind that, which is you have to take care of the biological, the psychological, and the social elements. So the biological is about the physical training, having world standard venues, having appropriate coaching so that they can optimize their talent moving in the right direction. The psychology we just mentioned, making sure we're taking care of their mental health and their well-being. And then we have the social aspect. This is around the lifestyle environment that we provide for them at the Institute. They can live in the Institute. We have our own catering staff to provide them with high-performance food, to make sure that they're recovering in between training. And we have deep collaborations with the school sector, with the university sector, that allows the athletes to have access to flexible education. So that is the social aspect. The social environment of their school, of the university, will significantly impact on how fast they can move up that ladder to high-performance sport. So collaborations with high schools like the Lam Dai Phai College, like the ESF school systems, collaborations with the UGC, who now has a new program since 2022, which allows athletes with results direct access into university. This is such a positive message that we can say to parents, now you don't have to worry if your child is gifted in sport, send them to the Institute, because we'll take care of their education, their adult pathway,
so
everything.
Parents don't have to worry about the academic achievement for the athletes anymore.
Yes.
So we are now at the last part of the show. I want to ask you very quickly, so far we have been very encouraged to hear how the Hong Kong SR, how the Hong Kong government has helped develop our athletes so that we've got some stars for Hong Kong. So how do you see that will benefit to the community at large?
I think having a successful high-performance sports sector is a really important role modeling effect for young people in Hong Kong. There are masses of research around the world showing the importance of sport participation for the development of young people, not just as individuals in terms of their physical and mental health, but also the effect it has on community, developing social cohesion, developing tolerance, and even between communities. The United Nations, for example, well recognizes the power of sport as a positive and celebratory space to bring communities together, to send positive messages about communities. So having a government which values sport and has a priority on sports policy is more and more common around the world, because everybody sees the benefits for developing young people.
Right. Thank you, Trisha, for that inspiring discussion. We will continue to support and celebrate the incredible achievements and contributions of all our athletes and look forward to an exciting future for sports in Hong Kong. Allow me to share with you a quote from athlete Wilma Rudolph, who overcame polio to win 3 gold medals and break 3 world records at the 1960 Olympics. Winning is great, sure, but if you are really going to do something in life, the secret is learning how to lose. Have a good evening and see you next week.